one. Boom! There it is, ladies and gents. It is Monday, the other part of the President's Day weekend, and today we're going to talk about some of those presidents and what are those things holding us back from getting more of them. So let's jump into today's show. Here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
Is your business in need of customers? Then you found the right show. Hernan Cias is the business bro, and he makes getting customers fun and easy. Watch, listen, and learn as each episode is designed to sell. Welcome to another episode of
Business Bros. Let's do this, ladies and gents. Who do we got on the show today? Fire intro time. Let's say you want something in your life. Big house, tons of cash, a successful business. So why don't you have them? Well, it's because you probably have some sort of limiting belief. There's something holding you back. And if you could overcome that limiting belief, the sky's the limit for you. And today's guest helps people remove those limits and encourages them to get that NFA money. No fucking around money with her 3-step formula. And I definitely want to know more about that. So let's welcome to the show the money healer herself, Dr. Amanda Barrientez. All right, you ready to rock and roll?
I am. Before you even played that music, I was going to dance for you. That was awesome.
You're ready to go throw down into party mode.
Yeah.
All right, Doc, let's jump into this. Everybody has a story, and we all start off with why. Why are you doing this?
Why are you doing this?
Because I want to know.
Tell me.
I love it. Oh, well, this being helping people make more money, because money can suck. I think a lot about how money brings up a lot of shame, embarrassment, fear, jealousy, resentment, doubt, uncertainty, like so many emotions. It's often one of those things that I tell people, no one wants to talk about money or sex at the dinner table. And they're two really important topics that rule our lives in big ways, and especially for an entrepreneur. So for me, my story started when I was really on the floor crying one night. I realized that I was the center of all my problems. So I had left my 15-year marriage having an affair. My next relationship wasn't working out because my relationship skills were, I didn't have any really. So I'd been able to create a 15-year marriage, and I got married really young, and, things just had this big fallout. And so I was sitting on the floor crying this one night, looking at this empty basement where my boyfriend had moved out. And I was thinking, what is the problem here? And about, around that same time, I was going to see a free counselor, and she's like, you got to go on food stamps. I had 3 kids. I was in grad school. I didn't have a lot of access to extra money. So here I am facing, in a lot of ways, homelessness, because the houses that I was looking at to rent were more than my income. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And I couldn't find anything that I could afford. And so I'm just crying on the floor, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And what's the problem here? And I had that thought, I'm the common denominator. And I thought, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to shift out of this reality. This sucks. I don't want to feel this way anymore. And so I didn't know what that would lead to in that moment, but what it ended up leading to is listening to a whole bunch of podcasts. And as I was listening to those podcasts on double speed, every chance I got, I started to really learn that you can change from the inside out and get different results. And so it started showing up in the way that I taught, and it showed up in my parenting and in new relationships, the way I felt about myself. And so, simultaneously, it was really a gift from the universe. My department had this huge national news fallout where professors were leaving our department, and everyone was just stressed. And I thought, I don't want to be a professor anymore. And, I realized that all the podcasts I was listening to were by coaches or coach type people. And I thought, maybe I could do that. I could get paid to do what I love and get paid more and have huger impact than I could in a university setting. And so I decided I'm going to finish my degree and then take the leap and build my own business. And so in that first year, I went from food stamps to 6 figures in my first year of business. And it's just been, I haven't looked back since.
That's amazing. I mean, to realize when you're at a rock bottom, to have the children there, to not know what your next step is, that's got to be one of the most terrifying feelings in the world. I mean, I'm literally going to take a leap here very soon, forced out of education into my own thing full time. And it's less scary because I've been doing it for a while, right? So it's not like I don't know what I'm doing or where I'm going to go. But in your situation, you really don't know what's going to happen. And the only thing you could really do is take a step forward. I mean, what was that feeling like, knowing that you had your kids there, knowing that at any moment you could lose everything, and yet you still took that step forward?
It's really interesting that in that rock bottom place, I didn't have a lot to lose anymore.
Mm.
It was like I I didn't know I was going to live anyway. I was already on food stamps and I was already working as hard as I possibly could. And so in a lot of ways, I look back and sometimes I see my clients getting more stuck taking action because they are in what I call the curse of the comfort zone, where they have so much at stake. For me, I had almost nothing at stake other than taking care of my kids, which I knew no matter what, hell or high water, my kids will be okay. I will figure out how to feed them and clothe them and have a house. And so it was like, okay, I saved up as much money I could in this process. And I was like, okay, if I can't figure out how to have a business fly, and I didn't need to make that much money at first, $2,500 a month was like a big deal to me. That was more money than I made every month most of my life. And so I was like, okay, if I can just make $2,500 a month coaching, then I can make this fly. And so I just decided I'm going to go for it. And if I don't, I can go get a job somewhere else. And so it was this all in commitment, and something really powerful happens when you decide and commit and take action. And, it's like decision. I love the word decision because it literally means to cut off. And so when you cut off all other options, there's no looking back, and you signal to the universe that you're serious, and then doors of opportunity open up to you that you could never plan. And I didn't know all of this at the time. I didn't know anything about, manifestation, law of attraction, or anything like that I yet really dive into the science of now. But I knew that I couldn't do what I was still, I couldn't keep thinking I'm going to do what I'm doing and get a different result. I got to do something different. And so I just, I had that like, screw it attitude. I'm going all the way.
Burn the ships. You hear that saying all the time. If you want to take the island, you got to burn the ships, because if there's a way for you to retreat, you will retreat. You'll always go back to that comfort zone. And I think this is where we talk about some of those limiting beliefs, right? So let's jump into what it is that you do now.
What do you do?
These are so fun. I love this. Yeah, you are awesome. It's amazing. What I do now is I help people discover money confidence. And what money confidence is having a magic wand to feel like you can create whatever reality you choose to create. Most, especially entrepreneurs, when they all of a sudden they go from getting a W-2, most people are jumping off that cliff and they go like, okay, here we go. I'm going to see if I can generate some income. They measure their success by money, and it triggers all of the fears and limiting beliefs. So I often think about entrepreneurship as a spiritual growth path, because it will trigger everything inside of you and in good and bad ways. Right. And when I say good and bad, it's growth opportunities. And so I love to help entrepreneurs have confidence where they go, okay, I think of confidence as I know, love, and trust myself. And when you know, love, and trust yourself, you know what direction that you're committed to going. You trust you love yourself in all the parts, like the shiny object syndrome, the imposter syndrome, all the fears, the doubts, the uncertainties, the perceived failures. You keep going and you trust that you can have it happen. And we want money confidence because money confidence is essential. Otherwise, you're in a hobby. You got to be producing money and do it in a way that's fun and easy and flowing, instead of fearful and stressful, and where you feel like, why did I even create a business? Because it feels like I made a prison out of just working for myself.
One of my mentors says that money is the most replenishable power source out there. You can always go completely broke and you can come back tenfold from what you did before. And you keep talking about how it's a mindset and an understanding and a self-confidence issue. I remember the first time I got into taxes. My very first business failed, and I wanted to know who Uncle Sam was and why he was taking all my money. And I started to sit down and do tax returns with people. And it was very therapeutic for them to talk about their year and all the things that happen in their year, but they only open up with certain individuals about their finances. They don't, like you said, talk about it at the dinner table. But that's where the confidence, I think, is built, when you're able to talk about not only what you want, but literally where you are and what you're struggling with, because at that point, now you're getting that help from other people, the ability to ask for help from people who are already successful in something that you want to do. When you sit down with a client, how much of that shift in their mind do they have to go through? How much of that therapy do they have to go through?
God, that's such a great point that you're making, that people really pick and choose who they want to talk to about it. And most people choose not to talk about it at all. It's why we grew up as kids not really knowing how to be financially empowered. We don't have high FQs, like, thinking about financial intelligence, because no one talks about it. Even, let's say, financially successful families don't talk about it. So what happens is that kids start to see their parents fighting about money. They see them working really hard for money. They see the struggles. Even if their parents are making a lot of money, they see that money is a constant thing in everyone's lives, but no one has these direct conversations, or very few families do. And so when you grow up, you think, well, I'm not really supposed to talk about these things. And it brings up a lot of shame. And so working with people, I think a huge gift that, one of the gifts of being on food stamps and then being revealed about it, I used to not share that with people because it was embarrassing. I was embarrassed. I was like, I used to walk around the grocery store pushing the cart. I'd go on Friday night with my son to the grocery store for our groceries for the week. And I'd push the cart down the aisles with him. And I would be looking around at the checkout people and going, which one of these is going to judge me the least for being on food stamps? Because I was so embarrassed about it. And so it ruled my every moment, my everyday life. It was a constant stressor. And so, in that, I think because I've had that experience, people feel like they can reveal more to me than they might be able to other people who they perceive as having always been successful. The funny thing about this is that almost nobody has been always successful. We just project a mask and pretend that that's the case. And it's like social media. We're not putting on there the downfalls unless it's part of your brand in some ways, right? And so people think everyone's doing so much better than they are. And one of the greatest gifts for me of getting to work with a whole bunch of different types of people was that, I worked when I was in my dissertation research, I worked with incarcerated men. So it was like all the way from incarcerated men to multi mega millionaires. And it's like seeing across the board that all humans struggle with the exact same things.
Yeah. And I mean, literally, look around your neighborhood. People are not better off than you. Their house is not floating in the sky, right? I mean, there's not like a tree growing in the backyard that has dollar bills on it. Like they're working just as hard and as diligent. And they're oftentimes, and this is the funny thing I learned when doing tax returns, oftentimes most people are still living paycheck to paycheck. Their paychecks might be bigger than other people's. Their houses might be a little nicer. Their cars might be a little nicer, but they're just as stressed out and just as worried as the next person who's a little bit lower, maybe has a less of a zero in their bank account, but they're going through the same emotional problems. They're going through the same stress. So how are you finding these people that you're going to work with? How are you getting these customers? Customer acquisition.
Yeah, it's a great question. For me, I have built my business almost exclusively organically through sharing my story, through being on podcasts, through having my own podcast, my own YouTube channel, and just sharing and caring and talking to people and knowing that people struggle with this in huge ways. When I do polls of entrepreneurs, they say that they spend up to 75% of the day worried about money. So I know that it's a common problem. And I know that most people don't realize that that's what their problem is. Money, a lack of money confidence and limiting money beliefs lead to fear of sales, procrastination. You don't like to promote yourself. You get shiny object syndrome. So you're working way too hard doing this. And then you build momentum in this direction. You're like, crap, it's not working. So you stop and then you do something else. And then you stop and do something else. And then years in, you're like, I just want to pull my hair out. I feel totally stressed. And so it's actually, I want to say sadly, it's easy to find people who are stressed about money. Entrepreneurs stress about money a lot. So my customers are everywhere.
Isn't it funny though, like those exact thoughts, right? That the stress of not having money, the fact that you're even thinking that way actually creates the reality of you not having the money that you're looking for. Those same exact things that you're telling yourself, the same fears that you're talking about and thinking about all the time, you're bringing those things into your reality. Your mind is an amazing tool. If you ask it a question, it will find the answer. Maybe not immediately, but it will search and bring into reality the things that you ask about, into whatever it is that you're doing. What you manifest those things and they become part of your reality. It's very, very powerful, the words that we use in our own mind, right?
Oh, so accurate. Yes, this is really fun for everyone watching. So if you look around your room right now, wherever you are, and look for everything that's red and take note of it. Like look around the room, look for something that's red, look for everything that's red, then turn back to watching this and now tell me everything that's green.
Hmm.
You don't remember because you were looking for everything that's red. So your brain looks for what you're focusing on. So if you're focused on lack and fear and doubt, you will keep recreating that reality because it's what you're looking for. And most people think, why would I ever do that to myself? The interesting thing is what I call competing commitments. And that's where our conscious battles with our unconscious. And 95% of us is unconscious. So it's always going to win. So if your unconscious thinks I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not sure how to build a business, I'm not sure how to make money, I don't know if I'll ever be successful, but then your conscious part is like, but I want to have a whole bunch of money and I want to have a big house and I want to have flowing assets, flowing abundance. It doesn't matter that that's what you want. You're going to get how you feel and what you believe.
Oh, our emotions are so powerful. All right, let's talk about some of these problems that you're helping them solve.
Hey, we've got a problem here.
So when you're talking to clients, they have a problem, and oftentimes their problem is, I need more customers, or I need more income in my bottom line. And it can be deeper than that, right?
Absolutely. So I actually did a poll of all of the people in my NFA community 2 years ago at the beginning of 2021. And I asked them, what's the number one thing that if I could give you a result, what would it be? They all said, make more money more easily. And so I equate that to money confidence. After I work with people, the number one thing that they say I gave them was confidence. And that's confidence to create a business more easily. And what this really is manifestation skills, which is an art and science around quantum physics. So it's not like this woo-woo thing where you're just sitting on your chair in the living room going like, please drop some money into my lap. It's actual skills and strategies and mindset shifts. So everything that you have in your reality right now is based on what you believe and what you think and what you feel. And so you're getting a reality based on the results of all of the programming that you have from birth to today. And until you make that conscious, it's going to keep showing up in your life and you're going to keep recreating it. And so the problem I solve for people is making easier money faster.
You don't get in life what you want. You get in life what you must have, right? Like
what you believe, what you fear, really.
Well, yeah. And here's the other thing is I was having this conversation with my dad yesterday, and he was talking about how he wanted to be in a space where money is coming to him, right? And when I kind of broke it down, I was like, look, it's kind of like I use The Rock as an example. You look at The Rock and people look at him and they're like, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, right? They look at him and they're like, oh, man, that guy's in great physical shape. He is super successful. He has movies. He has opportunities all around him. I want to be just like The Rock. And what people don't realize is it takes work to become The Rock. Like it's more than just, I want to be that thing. Being that thing is great. Becoming that thing, this is where the work really comes into play. And that's developing yourself, whether it's physically, emotionally, educating, taking those steps, taking those risks, going and being uncomfortable. Like you have to get uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's a difficult thing for most people to swallow because they want it instantaneously. So how are you getting them to first, yes, identify things, change that mind shift, get the confidence, but then do the work?
These are great questions. I think it's interesting to listen to people's languaging. So for me, I've learned who to work with based on what they say in the current moment. Because if someone's coming to me saying, I want a magic pill, they don't say exactly those words, but they're like, I want overnight success. It needs to happen faster. And then they're not willing to put in any time, energy, or money. That right there is just a red flag. I'm not the person for you. NFA, no fucking around attitude, is radical responsibility. And it's a lifelong skill set that you're developing. This never changes. I run into money blocks every week in myself. It's not like all of a sudden you're fixed and you just magically everything works for you. It's a lifelong journey because we're always evolving. I think about growth as an upward spiral trajectory. So you're always on this spiral curve and you're expanding. You can get stuck at comfort zone where it's just riding the wave, feeling comfortable and safe, and it's easy. And in that, it might feel okay, but just like you're saying, we are animals and we are always seeking pleasure, avoiding pain. So the thing that happens when we want to grow is that you've got to decide, I'm willing to lean into the pain for a period of time to have the pleasure on the other side. So it takes a lot of consciousness. You've got to be a person who's striving and who is, NFA motto is radical responsibility. Like, be a person of radical responsibility, become a master of yourself. And that is a lifelong practice. It's not like, oh, I'm going to fix you in a week. I'm going to fix you in 2 weeks. There's a magic thing I'm going to say. Yes, you can have massive shifts from one thought change, and then you're going to implement it, and then you're going to create a whole new world around you. That doesn't happen instantaneously because you've already built a whole bunch of momentum in a direction to get the physical reality you have. So once you decide, once you learn something new and you have an epiphany and you go, oh my God, I can change everything, then it takes some time to act on that for then the physical reality to catch up with your thought, your new thought. That's why it's about habit change.
Yeah, let's talk about who is NFA ready. Like, who is this person that is on the verge, ready to rock and roll, the people that you want to ideally work with?
I am looking for qualities beyond the physical.
Beyond the physical, yes.
Yeah. People who are hungry. I love Les Brown. He was like, you got to be hungry.
Gotta be hungry.
Right? Yes, he said it much better than me. You got to be hungry.
Hungry.
Right? It's like, that's what you need. It's me laying on the floor and going, screw this reality. I'm ready for more. And I'm the center of my universe. I didn't say it in those words. I said, I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of feeling this way. I'm sick and tired of having broken relationships and not enough money. I got to do something different. It's those people. Right. And so it's anyone who's like, God, I know there's more. And I know there's answers. The amazing thing that I discovered on this journey is that there's answers. I always wondered, like, how do those people get that? I want that. Like, how do they go on those trips? How do they have that house? How do they have a business they love? How do they have a relationship that's thriving that they enjoy? I always thought of relationships as sort of torturous. And now it's like,
I did too.
Right. And now it's like, I have a husband that I love. We just got married in Hawaii last year. Like, I love my life. I love my business. I love my days. I've designed a life I love by doing exactly what you were talking about, putting in the energy, the effort, the time, the money, and having it be a lifelong dedicated quest. And so the people I look for are people like that, who they're like, Amanda has a spark and I see it. And when a lot of people say to me, I knew that when I was ready, a teacher would appear, and that's you. And so it's like, I work with people who are like at that level of, they're not stuck in victim mode of like, the world's against me and poor me. They're like, okay, I want to access as much power as I can within myself to be a master of my reality.
Yes. And that's one of the things that I write in my journal almost every single day is I live my life by design. Like, I'm going to create and manifest whatever I want in this world. It's physical, it's business, it's whatever I want. I'm going to make it happen, not by default, by design. It's got to be that way. And I know there are a lot of people out there who are feeling what you were feeling, whether it's, they're pulling their hair completely out or they're just done and they're ready to make a change. So if people want to work with you, thank you so much. They're all there. They're all lined up. What's your sales process like? How do they work with you?
I love this. The millions are lining up. The best, easiest way is to go to nfamoneyformula.com. So if they go to nfamoney.com that you see on the screen, they'll find all kinds of good stuff. NFA Money Formula gives them access to unlocking lessons, free lessons, and then it moves them into my paid options of working with me. And I have a lot of cool options for people at all different levels. I just started a really fun NFA Money Mama Mastermind. So I've got all kinds of cool stuff. And it's really, all of it is geared toward you having the tools to strategically build money confidence, which gives you ultimate freedom. You get to create anything you want, like we were talking about, designing life on your terms when you have money confidence and when you have confidence in general. And so if they go to nfamoneyformula.com, they'll find all kinds of cool stuff and options to work with me.
Well, let's talk about some of those free options, because everybody loves free, and we gotta always, especially when it comes to working with coaches and mentors, you gotta feel like if you jive with this person, like, you guys have a click. Is there a spark there where you're gonna want to work together? So
I'm giving away free money.
Okay, maybe not free money, but what are they gonna find when they go to your website as far as the free stuff?
Yep. So if they go to NFA Money Formula, I think it's about 2.5 hours of a video training for free. And then it leads them to a Money Blocks profile, which is a money mindset quiz. And so already there, they've got a ton of free stuff to work with. Every week on my YouTube channel, I release between 2 to 5 videos. So if they go to NFA Money YouTube, all kinds of free awesomeness there. Most people who find it, they're like binge watch and get a ton of value out of that. So NFA Money Formula will unlock all the free stuff and lead them to the channel. Also, I totally agree with you. I think it's interesting how we promote stuff and then we expect people to buy without getting to try things out. So for my NFA Money Mama Mastermind, I have a sit-in where someone can test it out before they commit, because I want to know if they're a good fit for my community and I want them to feel like they're a good fit for the community too. So they get to sit in and test it out. And it's just a really easy application process. They fill it out, they come sit in, and then we talk and say, hey, you want to join the mastermind?
See, that's what it's all about. Like, I think in today's world, we are missing out on an opportunity to have conversations with people. And I think, when you talked about some of those relationships, almost 4 years ago is when we started our podcast. And prior to that, that was difficult to actually sit down and have a conversation with somebody and kind of take it and learn all about what they're doing. That's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but it's something that you can learn. And you are offering people this opportunity to gain the confidence, because that's really what it comes down to. You don't do it because you're afraid. You're afraid of what people think. You're afraid of what people are going to say and nothing. And it's one of the scariest things that you could possibly do. So, last little thing. I know you said it, but I always like to break it up in clips.
Say hello to my little friend.
How do people get a hold of you? One more time.
Yeah, go to nfamoney.com. You'll find connections to my Instagram there, NFA Money, to my YouTube, NFA Money, and to the NFA Money Formula, which you can also find at nfamoneyformula.com. So all kinds of awesome giveaways. I mean, I love giving away stuff for free because when I was on food stamps, I needed access to free knowledge to implement so that I could shift. And so I give away a lot of content, a lot of knowledge to help you become money confident. And then, of course, as you move up and you start to go, I'm hungry for more, there's more, higher and higher levels of working with me.
All right. Last little thing. You ready? It's my recap. Let's see if I understood everything you talked about today. Here we go.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
All right, ladies and gents, here's what it comes down to. Times are stressful. And if you find yourself backed in a corner, you feel like you're going to rip your hair out, you're done, you're about to burn out and give up on all these things, there's hope. Okay. It's very simple. You just need to find a little bit of confidence. And I know exactly where you can find it. You can go to www.nfamoney.com and meet Dr. Amanda. She's going to help cure your money problems so that you don't have to be messing around with anything other than the confidence building that you need so you can go out and build whatever you want to. How do I know it's going to work? Because she started off crying on the floor, fed up with her life on food stamps, not knowing where she was going to go. And she is teaching others to get out of that hole just like she did. www.nfamoney.com, nfamoney.com. Set up your first appointment, sit in before you get in, and figure out if this is for you. What do you think?
You are a rock star. I love it so much. Yeah, NFA attitude all the way. Yeah,
all the way. Look, Zig Ziglar says that sales is nothing more than a transference of energy. So I got to come ready to rock the energy so we can sell products and services that you have because they benefit so many people. And I think that's one of those key things in sales and confidence that you talk about is when you believe in a product or service, when you know how helpful it can be to somebody, that's where sales comes in, because you're really just trying to show somebody that there's an opportunity in front of them if they're willing to take that step, right?
Yeah. I always tell people selling is caring and selling is sharing. Like if you are afraid to sell, all you need to think of is how can I share something that is like being water in the desert? If someone's dying of dehydration in the desert and you have water and you don't give it to them, you're not saving their life when you could. Selling is the exact same thing. Right now, I know that people are going to suffer if I don't share what I have with them. So some people don't need the water. They might already be carrying a 5-gallon backpack full of water. They don't need what I have. If you need what I have, then I don't share it with you, then I am losing out on an opportunity to save your life and have you thrive in your business. So I love selling.
Exactly. You're exactly right. I'm thirsty. Help. All right, Dr. Amanda, one last question for you. The way we grow our podcast and our business is through video testimonials. When you do a good job for somebody, they're grateful, they're excited about what it is that you've done. And what better way than to capture that on video and use it to help grow your business? So what was your experience like on the Business Bros podcast?
Oh my God, so much fun. I love being a guest on this podcast because it's playful, it's fun, it's high vibe. I'd say high vibe. You know, that's what really attracts people. So Business Bros podcast, awesome. I can see that you'd get tons of tips and that it brings on experts and that it's fun and playful and things that are actually going to help you thrive.
What do you think of our marketing stuff? You know, our
cool.
booking process, text messages, like what do you think of our marketing?
Very straightforward, flowing. I would say I've been on over 100 podcasts now, and I would say yours is you and one other company I've ever worked with stood out as being so powerfully skilled in a playful way at pulling people in and having them feel like part of your community, and also knowing that they were going to get into a really good show, which is fun.
Yes, that's the whole intention. That's it. You nailed it. Good. Awesome. I'm doing my job right. Hopefully after you're episode 911.
Wow. I like it. It says 911, no fucking around money. So it's like,
yes.
Hey, emergency, you need money help. Here's your 911
This is
help.
exactly it. It's perfect. All right, Dr. Amanda, thank you very much for coming on the show. Ladies and gents, that's it. That's where it comes from. Look, when you're struggling with any of your money issues, it's usually a confidence thing. So let's start building that confidence. Let's shift a little bit on your mindset, shift the words that you're using to talk to yourself, and watch your world dramatically change. So one more time, nfamoney.com, set up an appointment, have a conversation, see if it's a good fit. And at the very least, start having these conversations, accept that you are willing to make a change, that it's going to be uncomfortable, that it's going to be a little difficult, but it's ultimately worth it in the end. So Dr. Amanda, thank you very much for coming on the show. Ladies and gents, we'll see you guys again mañana. Peace. And we're out.
Thanks for watching The Business Bros. If you're ready to get more clients and want to work with The Business Bro, visit our website, www.businessbros.biz, and click on the Need More Customers button, or learn how to generate more referrals with our video testimonial packages. Go to www.businessbros.biz